You've done the work. You've read the books, you write the journal, you set goals, you know who you want to become, and on some days you actually feel like you're that person. And then something happened. A bad week, a moment of doubt, and suddenly you're back with the same patterns, same thoughts, same version of you thought you already left behind. And now you think there must be something wrong with you, that some people are just an exception and you cannot become the person you dream of becoming. But don't worry, girl, I'm here to tell you that nothing is wrong with you. But there is something that's causing this. There's simply a gap between where you are right now and who you are becoming. And today I want to show you exactly how you can close that gap. At this point, society has framed that if you are failing, that means that you're not doing enough, you're not disciplined enough, you don't have enough willpower, or you just don't want it bad enough. And that framing is exactly why a lot of people are also working towards the wrong thing. Grinding every single day, working hard, thinking that the more tasks that they take, the more probability that they will achieve the dream life. But that is simply not the case, because the problem here is more structural than it is your personal problem. It is the fact that your inner self and your outer work has been working in two separate places, and they never live together. Your outer work is simply when you focus on your to-do list, your actions, your goals, your productivity system. It is outcome-based and usually is logical, backed with metrics. Because of this, you became really good at moving through life without actually being present in the moment. Everything gets done, but it feels like it's not building towards the person who you want to become. It is one of those feelings where you feel like there's always something missing, or you're not good enough. You think that the more goals that you will achieve, the more that you will feel satisfied. And because of that, because you're focusing too much on the outcome, the actions that you take, you ended up being burned out because you're doing something that's not connected to who you are becoming and what you're meant to do. Now, on the other hand, when you only focus on the affirmations, the manifestations, the technique, vision boards, still sometimes it won't produce the outcome that you want. And then you ended up thinking that this is all a scam, that your manifestations are not working, that you're just not the one who's lucky enough to be able to create their own dream life. Now, what you need to understand also is that belief without action won't create the identity. It probably just feels good temporarily because you feel like you're letting go, you're trusting, which is a good thing, right? But when you do too much of it to the point where you disregard the actual outcome, you escape from that feeling of uncomfortability to the point where you decide to let go of growth because you think simply you believing will solve all the problems. That's not gonna work because we live in a physical world still. What you don't reinforce through doing will not stick to your brain. Your brain needs evidence before it starts to label things as true, before it starts associating some things to you. This is why you can't really just think your way to a new identity. You have to act your way into one with aligned actions. I think this is also the reason why people gave up so easily nowadays. It's because everyone tells you if you're not achieving this thing, you're not good enough, or you feel like you're left behind because everyone is doing bigger things than you right now. Even in social media, even the motivational quotes like you need to dream big, you need to think 10x, sometimes it can be misinterpreted because now you think, okay, I just need to set a very big 5-year goal and that's where I can manifest things. But again, as I've mentioned, unfortunately the brain doesn't work that way. Yes, up to some point, if you write down your dreams, the big goals, whatever bigger things that you want in life, if you believe it enough, it will come true. But the key word is believing it enough and becoming that version of yourself who know they have everything they've ever wanted and be aligned with that identity every single day. Unfortunately, that's not as easy as it seems to act as if. What your brain will believe though is the small baby steps, the small improvements that you make every single day towards becoming that version of yourself. Small but uncomfortable enough to create growth, but also effortless enough for your brain to believe that this is your reality. Identity doesn't shift from a breakthrough moment, but the way you shape identity is through repetition over time. So if you do one good journaling session every week, or you have that one moment of clarity, yes, it will help you at some point, but it won't really rewire anything permanently. It won't tell your brain that you've become another different person because you've only done it once throughout the whole 7 days. Again, the brain encodes identity through what it believes to be true, which can be done through repetition. The more that we see it in our life, the more believable it seems, the easier for the brain to accept it as true. So not what you occasionally feel, but what is consistent. Again, this is why at some days you can feel really powerful, really motivated, but then at some days also you're back to your old patterns. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't normal. We're human after all, and we have emotions. Of course, there's gonna be bad days, there's gonna be good days too. But there are also some ways that you can be more consistent in aligning with your desired identity rather than being stuck and controlled by your old patterns and your old self. What you need here is something that holds both of the sides, the becoming and the doing, all in the same practice, all working together hand in hand, again, not separately. Because if you navigate through your spiritual self and productive self separately, you will belong to neither, and as long as that split exists, no matter how big you think, it's gonna be a very long road for you to get there. simply because the version of yourself now doesn't align with that version of yourself who has it all. I had this realization through, of course, experience. I've made the same mistake too. I thought that I was doing everything right because I am very productive every day. I make sure that I work 8 to 10 hours a day, take off everything on my list, read manifestation journal, do vision boards, and visualize all of those things. On paper, probably I look like someone who has all of their life together. But again, I kept feeling lost. I don't even know why I'm doing the task that I'm doing. I don't even believe that my manifestation and my visualization are coming together. I was always anxious about the future, regretful about the past, and never living in the present moment. I was not sharing both the doing and the becoming together. I ended up being productive but purposeless, spiritual but ungrounded. And then I realized if our thoughts create the action, why do we only focus on the outcome? I stopped thinking that if I don't do a certain thing, then I'm gonna fall behind. But I started seeing it in the perspective of who I'm becoming. That person will probably enjoy doing that task regardless of the outcome because she knows that in the end, the outcome is already hers. And of course, start with baby steps. I know for some of you, your ego is probably telling you to dream bigger. You can manifest bigger things and all of that. But if you're not used to it, and if your brain doesn't believe you, no matter how hard you try, you're gonna progress slower than you taking baby steps. Because when you take baby steps, it's more believable. You know it's bound to happen, and it's gonna make the process not only faster, but also more effortless. So take an action unfamiliar enough for you to feel like a change, but not big enough that your brain thinks it's unachievable or hard to stay consistent with. So I'm gonna share with you what consistent daily anchoring of my identity looks like now. Firstly is the morning check-in. Before I open my phone or to-do list, I ask myself one question. What am I calling it today? Which is basically who you are being today. The reason why I say this out loud or actually decide the energy that I'm channeling today is so that I'm not controlled by my old self. Because this primes your brain to become that identity before it starts pulling you into directions, controlling you to places you don't want to be, controlling your inner state. You get to choose. And I know some days you just wake up feeling unmotivated, and the goal here is to not really force that, but to acknowledge it and let your brain know you have the option to choose. You can be whoever you want to be, and you're not going to be controlled by whatever lies your brain tells you that day. And then when I'm writing my to-do list for the day, I'm connecting it to the person who I'm becoming, the identity that I'm building. What is she going to do today to reach the goal? And again, this is not simply writing down all of the things that you think you should be doing, but you want to be very deliberate with this because you can end up being lost in all of the tasks, in thinking that you need to be productive and then doing the things that actually will not really bring you growth. You want leverage in this life, and the more that you do small tasks that doesn't amount to anything, the harder it is for you to align with your desired self. Why? Because your future self probably isn't worried about networking, while you're sitting here thinking of ways so that you can avoid networking and thinking that you're working towards something, but in reality you're just creating tasks that is not bringing you closer to your goal, or just draining your energy, and actually that you can let go of. And if you decide on a task or on a goal, make sure you know the reason why you're doing it, regardless of the outcome. Because if you're only doing it for the outcome, then every time that goal isn't achieved, you're gonna feel like a failure, and it's just gonna bring you closer and closer to your old self, the one who always blames themselves for everything. This will also help you to do it for the love of the game. And I think that's basically the elixir of life. If you hate the progress, then you're gonna hate every single day that you live. Because again, you're stuck in some future moments that hasn't happened yet now, by the way, and also some past moment that is now only living in your memory. Regardless of the outcome, why are you doing this thing? For example, for me doing content, regardless of how many subscribers, viewers I get, I know that there's gonna be at least one person who finds my content, and if they benefit from my content, if they found value from my content, then I would be content. Again, regardless of the outcome. You want to find that reason, otherwise you won't win in life. And then finally, evening notice, you want to be very aware of the accomplishment or the things that you did today that brings you closer towards that goal. The theme of this video again is that the brain needs evidence to produce result. So if you reinforce every single night the things that you do that brings you closer to your dream life, whether that be again as simple as sending an email, or not even the things that you do, it can also be coincidences you experience today, whether that be finding a very good parking space despite it being so crowded. That's not only a sign of your accomplishment, but also an evidence that the universe is also backing you up, that you're not going through all of this alone, but that you can also let go, trust that the world is always helping you, no matter where you are. This is how you build self-trust over time. And then finally, do the weekly check-ins. This is kind of your weekly reflections, your weekly journaling session, where you ask yourself, where am I acting out of fear? Where am I aligning with my desired identity? Not to bring you down, not to make you aware of all the things that you did not achieve, but so that you can see the patterns and actually shift them when you need to. It's like when you have a limiting belief, you can simply remove remove that roadblock and reframe that belief. And then one thing that I also like to remind myself every single day is to follow my motivation when it's there, but not forcing it when my body tells me to rest. Rest is truly recovery, and I need to drill this in my head for the longest time. I hate resting because I think that I'm always falling behind when I'm resting, but it is truly a maintenance thing. It truly accelerates you towards your dream life. So those are the frameworks that I use to help live a balanced life. But also I want to tell you why I built something around this topic, because I'm one of the target audience. I've been through this. I need something that helped me live a balanced life, a place where I can dream big without drowning in the task and in the day-to-day operations. I couldn't find it, and so I built a solution initially for myself. Ultimately, I decided to launch it for the entire world, despite having a lot of followers, despite having any personal brand, because I genuinely think that someone can benefit from this. So let me introduce you to the Reality Architecture OS. It's a Notion system that combines everything I've mentioned before. But before you do all of that, you need to create your identity. So inside there, I provide a template exercise and also video course, removing roadblocks, setting your dream narrative, and of course there's going to be some goal setting without the trap of losing yourself in the outcome, and finally the 10 universal laws that ties everything together. I designed this as a structure that you can reinforce every single day. For the person who already knows what they want and just need a reinforcement, a place where the becoming and the doing can work hand in hand. So if you ever felt that split, productive but purposeless, spiritual but ungrounded, not knowing exactly who you're becoming but having nowhere to make that come true, this was built for exactly that. Link is in the description below. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for sticking till the end of this video. Subscribe if this is the kind of content that you enjoy. I basically talk about mindset, growth, manifestation, and basically building a life that's matching the version of yourself you've been working towards. Everyone is welcome, and yeah, I'll see you soon.